We begin tonight at 6 with a 15-year-old boy who remains in critical condition after an Easter morning shooting in Lawrence. An 18-year-old sits in jail right now awaiting criminal charges.
But as our Ashton Hackman now explains, the man claims the teen was committing a crime of his own.
The early morning shooting happened here at the M Club Apartments just off 465 in Lawrence. New court documents reveal the 18-year-old told police he pulled up to the apartment complex, meeting up with his girlfriend after a party. The suspect told police he and his girlfriend were leaving the apartment and allegedly saw the boy breaking into her car. He said he feared for his life, pulled out his gun, and fired around 10 times. Now it's up to the prosecutors whether to file charges. The suspect claims he was startled seeing the teen and 3 to 4 people wearing black masks. He allegedly grabbed for his gun, and when the driver began getting out of his car, that's when he fired the gun.
The whole stand your ground I don't think really applies in this case.
Brad Banks is a former deputy prosecutor, now private attorney in Indianapolis. He says he has prosecuted and defended countless self-defense cases, and cases involving cars instead of home break-ins create a legal gray area.
Two different people can look at the same set of facts and draw a different conclusion on whether or not this reaches self-defense. Self-defense is probably the one thing that's most subjective. You're looking at the facts of these cases and deciding was that reasonable or not.
Lawrence police booked the 18-year-old into jail on a charge of attempted murder, but the investigation and final charging decisions continue.
They're taking other witness statements and trying to gather information as to where the individuals were. Did anybody else see any actions that looked like somebody might be pulling out a weapon? Because that'll be the factors they're really looking at to determine is this a potential criminal case or was his actions reasonable in response.
A decision now left to the prosecutor as the 15-year-old boy remains in critical condition. In Lawrence, Ashton Hackman, 13 News.
If the victim does survive, Banks says it is likely the prosecutor would file less severe charges against the 18-year-old suspect rather than attempted murder.
Well, there were some locations today that did make it up into the 70s. Meanwhile, there are a few of you that are still stuck into the 50s. But I think everyone, after we clear the clouds out overnight tonight, will see these temperatures drop. So through the rest of this evening, we will see the temperatures come out of the 60s if you're still there, into the 50s, and then overnight lows down into the 40s for tonight, especially as the winds calm down and the skies clear out. We'll put 46 on the board for Indy, expecting these temperatures to start out on the cooler side because we've been talking about warmer temperatures really for the rest of this week. For tomorrow, sunny skies, pleasant conditions. We'll start to kick in with this south wind. Once that happens, not only is the sunshine going to help to warm us up, but we're also going to bring in some of that heat that should be able to get us up into the 70s for tomorrow. Now, this is just the start of a pattern change. We do 70s for tomorrow. I've got 80s in the forecast, several of them, in fact, in the 7-day. I'll show you when those are, and we do have a chance for some thunderstorms in the forecast. Will we see the severe threat? I'll outline that coming up.
Tonight, Hoosiers are reflecting on the life and the legacy of Pope Francis. The 88-year-old pontiff died this morning of stroke and heart failure. And this happened just a day after he delivered his Easter blessing, and he did so at the Vatican.
But it's his time here in the United States that many Indiana Catholics are cherishing right now. It was their chance to meet the Pope a decade ago. Virginia Runjevich is here tonight at 6 with their memories of Pope Francis. Jenny?
Yeah, pretty impactful memories, guys. I can tell you that they made this pilgrimage to see the Pope in person when he made his first visit to the U.S. We were there too, in Washington, D.C. and in Philadelphia, sharing his impact on American Catholics. The energy and enthusiasm for Pope Francis was impressive. Tens of thousands of people gathering for a once-in-a-lifetime experience with a once-in-a-generation leader. Hoosiers say they'll never forget getting a glimpse of the pontiff and hearing him speak to the masses. They say Pope Francis shared his humble, gentle nature, his advocacy for kindness, and they also saw his ability, even in a crowd, to create a personal connection that deepened their faith.
He was a pope concentrated on showing the world love, caring for the most vulnerable. Could see his love for the people, during our visit.
And then when the crowds, the way they erupted, everybody just was one big crowd. And I think that's what he did. I mean, I think for the church, for the world.
Hoosiers say that is his greatest legacy, welcoming everyone to the faith, and they hope that continues. And we do want to let you know the Indianapolis Archdiocese just announced a local mass for Pope Francis that's happening this Thursday at noon. It'll be celebrated by Archbishop Thompson at St. Peter and Paul Cathedral downtown. So really a chance for everyone to come celebrate this wonderful man.
I bet a lot of people will be turning out for that mass.
For sure. And, you know, we also want to let you know we have lots of impactful stories to share from the Pope's historic visit here to the U.S. in 2015 and the Hoosiers who were there. We've compiled all our coverage for you on WTHR Plus. Just download on your TV and watch for free.
All right, Jenny, thanks so much. Well, tonight, the family of former HSE football player Mason Alexander is still looking for answers nearly 2 months after he was killed in a crash.
They're now saying they've received little to no information on the investigation itself. Family and friends gathered at the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office today, calling for more transparency into the investigation behind the crash.
That crash took place along Florida Road near Southeastern Parkway and I-69 back on March 1st. Now, in the preliminary police report, it said that a friend was driving when they tried to pass a car. The driver then swerved to avoid a crash, driving off the road and hitting a tree, killing Alexander.
The Hamilton County Sheriff's Office said in a statement today it is continuing to investigate the deadly crash and has asked the community to be patient while all the facts are now being gathered and the next steps are determined. Tonight at 11, we'll hear from the family as our coverage continues.
Tonight, Indiana communities are now facing off against lawmakers over investors buying up thousands of Hoosier homes.
For Hoosiers, in Hamilton County, in Fishers, for example, the City County Council is to hear testimony tonight on a proposal to cap the amount of homes that those investors buy up. And that's where we now join Alex Almanza live with a look ahead of what could be a long night of debate. Alex?
Anne Marie Scott, neighbors here in this Hamilton County city say that they're expecting a larger crowd for this City County Council meeting, which is going to bring a proposal that's being brought forth by Fishers Mayor Scott Fadness. Now, he says that neighbors in this community are concerned about the number of homes in the city that are being owned by companies and people who don't live in them. Now, the proposal would require all single-family rentals to register with the city, and then rentals will be limited to 10% of the homes in a community. But opponents to the cap say that there is a shortage of housing, especially affordable housing in Fishers. Supporters of the cap, however, saying that investors, especially out-of-state ones, don't buy into their communities.
When you're not local, you not have that same investment and that same buy-in into that neighborhood. If you're a part of a conglomeration that just buys up homes, then how are you bought into that neighborhood?
And people on the other side of the argument, the Indiana Association of Realtors says that this unnecessarily infringes on the rights of property owners. But again, we're just less than an hour away from that meeting here at Fishers City Hall. And like I said, there could be quite a few people here voicing concerns and also voicing some of their thoughts on just the overall state of this. But again, we've been following this for quite a while, and we're going to bring you the latest on both on air and online.
All right, Alex Almanza reporting live for us tonight in Fishers, continuing coverage here at 11. In the meantime, the issue is now catching the attention of lawmakers down at the Indiana State House.
Yeah, today they introduced an amendment to a bill that would block cities from placing rental limits in their communities. House Bill 1389 would prevent communities from passing rules on what kinds of vehicles or equipment people could buy. Now, a proposed change to that same bill would block communities from passing rental caps similar to the one Fishers is now considering.
So if the Conference Committee agrees to the change, it then would go to the Rules Committee in both the House and Senate before then receiving a formal vote.